ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dota 2 update for the week of August 29th, 2011. Our top news for this week, we're going to start things off with two interviews. First one done by GameStar with Eric Johnson, where he talks about a lot of pertinent subjects, including matchmaking and the whole Dota versus LoL versus Han. And our second interview comes from Gamasutra. This one is one of those interviews that is actually fun to read. It was conducted with Gabe Newell and Eric Johnson, and this one's fun because of how Gabe Newell just responds. He just says it like it is, so stick around for that. And then we're gonna wrap things up this week with a lot of stuff about the beta. We got rumors from a lot of different places that the beta is coming out in 3-ish weeks. And at the very end, we're gonna wrap things up with a quick little segment, and it's gonna be pretty fun, so stick around. Alright, so now let's jump into our first story of the week. I want to cover this GameStar interview with Eric Johnson. First of all, in this he talks about a lot of different things, and a lot of interesting topics also came up, like matchmaking and the kind of competition that may be brewing between Dota, LoL, and Han. Here's a short clip from that interview. I'm going to link it so you guys can go watch it if you want.
In the experience of many people, the Dota community and the community of some Dota clones is a very strict one and an unforgiving one, because you got many players who are really experienced in the game and who are not very kind to new players. Are you evaluating any way to solve that problem?
I think some of that problem is making sure that once you're in a game that you're playing with people that have pretty similar skill as you and have played the game for a similar amount of time, you know, if you're a very new player. And we think that can go a long way to solving it.
Not much to talk about on this one. It's just kind of your generic, boring interview that doesn't really tell us anything new. We kind of knew this information already, and a lot of the questions he kind of gave safe answers. And that's going to lead us into our second interview, which is completely different from the first one. It feels so informal. These guys are just having a chat and laughing about it. It was conducted by Gamasutra with Eric Johnson, the guy we saw in that last video, and Gabe Newell. And man, these responses, this one is an interview that's worth reading, even though there's not really any like big revelations or big new pieces of information that comes out of this interview. The responses themselves are worth taking a look at. So basically the interviewer asked, oh, what's Dota 2's pricing model? And Gabe Newell is like, oh, we don't really know yet, and blah blah blah, that stuff that we've heard before. And then the interviewer goes on to ask, oh, well, conventional wisdom suggests that you have to be aware of your monetization design from a game design level. Basically, you should have an idea of how you're going to make money off the game, so you can maybe implement some of the design or the features during development. But then Gabe Newell just goes, and this is, I quote this, he says, I think not sucking is way more of an important thing to pay attention first. I think every gamer can point to shipping too early or sucking as being a way more dominant story in our industry than, oh, it was slightly cumbersome to give the company money. And then he goes on to point out Minecraft. He says, I mean, look at Minecraft. Notch wasn't thinking through his incredibly precise monetization strategy. So damn, Gabe Newell, you tell him. And then the rest of this interview has this sort of fun, laid back and relaxed kind of feel. It's a really good read if you have like 5 to 10 minutes. He says Valve has been working on this project for about 2 years. There's about 60 or so people working on it at this point. And then the interview goes into some of Valve's philosophies, like not having job titles and how that helps. And it's not boring though, because it's just of how Gabe Newell and Eric Johnson responds to these questions. Alright, so with that, we're going to move on to our second story. Rumors say Dota 2 beta may be coming out in 3 weeks. We hear this from a couple different sources. First of all, we have an interview done by Game Cult, a French gaming website, I believe. They talk with Gabe Newell, and he basically says, and quote, it will start in 3 weeks, I would say. We still have some things we want to change in response to feedback after the tournament, and then the launch in the wake. That's what Google Translate came back with, so there could be some translating things that got lost. But anyways, that's the gist of it. And then another source, VG247.com, says they contacted Valve directly by email, and a Valve representative said that press would be added to the beta list in a few weeks. Whatever the case, it does look like the beta is around the corner. However, soon is never soon enough for Dota fans. It's pretty funny because ever since Gamescom ended, we've had people post fake beta invites and reactions and like posts about, oh my god, I refresh my email every single day. And I guess it's hard not to, because it seems like we're in that purgatory period. We just had the International a couple weeks ago, but we hadn't had any news. I mean, this was actually a very, very slow news week. Hopefully things pick up once again as we near the beta, but only time can tell. But before we wrap things up this week, I've prepared a fun little segment that I'm going to call Beta Watch 2011. Basically what I've done is I went around and found a whole bunch of people claiming that they've got the beta invite for Dota 2 and posting quote-unquote screenshots of it, obviously photoshopped, but I'm just gonna show them to you, and you can rate them, you can laugh at them, whatever you want to do. So here's the first one. It's basically just a thing that shows, oh, he's downloading the Dota 2 beta. It doesn't even have anything else, it's just a little screenshot of that. It's like a list. I mean, if you're gonna Photoshop, you can do better than that. At least show us some sort of background. Anyways, our second one, this one's got a background, but you can tell it's fake just because, I mean, you use the default poster background of Morphling. Also at the bottom, way to use the default Twitter and Facebook icons. I mean, Valve, they have their own art department. They're not going to use the default Twitter and Facebook icons. I mean, those are the kind of things that a blog would use, not Valve. And if you go to Dota2.com, you can see that they actually have their own custom Facebook and Twitter kind of icon things that match the general Dota 2 theme. So this is a weak effort. And we got two more of these for you guys. The next one, it shows a guy who apparently has Dota 2 beta and is about to click the play button or whatever. It looks pretty fake to me, and here's why. First of all, the background, again, default Dota 2 poster of Lena. That's one big red flag for me. And second, this is the biggest thing I think. It says he's only played less than 2 hours of Dota 2. I mean, come on. You have Dota 2 beta. Have you only had it for like 3 hours and you've only played the last 2 hours? I mean, if he's gonna go through all of this trouble and tease people who don't have Dota 2 beta and post this on whatever site I found this on, he's likely to be a pretty big Dota fan, and come on, only played 2 hours of this? No, I'm calling fake on this one. And then we got the one from last week I showed you guys. This is pretty obviously a fake. Ice Frog also confirmed that it was fake, but it's fun to see what this guy was trying. One thing that really gave it away, first of all, when he posted it, he wrote Dota in a way where he capitalized the A, and Valve does not do that because of trademark issues, I believe, because Dota is not going to stand for Defense of the Ancients. It's just going to be a word, because the phrase Defense of the Ancients is like trademarked by League of Legends guys or something like that. Anyways, so this guy who posted this invitation actually re-uploaded the invite where he fixed the A, and then everyone was just like, okay, this guy's an idiot. And then that's not it. He goes on inside, he says, inside this little description that he wrote, he says something like, oh, you can explore the social networking features of Dota 2, yay. Like, what? Social networking? We've never heard anything about social networking inside Dota 2. Come on. You gotta do better than that. And that's that for this segment. I guess as the beta approaches, maybe a lot more people are going to be posting these fake invites, maybe not, who knows. But if it does, we'll have the segment again if there's enough content, because I think it's pretty fun and interesting to look at how people are trying to trick other people with these fake invites. Anyways, with that, that's it for Dota 2 update for the week of August 29th, 2011. And while we wait for beta invites to come out, I'm going to go play myself, summon LOL, Dota, and Han to get ready, and I'll see you guys next time.